We're beginning this broadcast with the deteriorating air quality in the national capital. The big story is that one. The Supreme Court is all set to hear the Delhi government's proposal on lockdown today. The apex court on Saturday asked Kejriwal government to reduce air pollution by consulting centre and other state governments. The Delhi government has already shut down schools, colleges and also halted construction activity for the week. The government has also issued a work from home advisory for private and government office employees. Kejriwal's fight against COVID plan came after the apex court wrapped centre and state over the air pollution crisis in the national capital. Both the centre and Delhi government today are going to be submitting their report on the steps taken to improve the air quality. Delhi has been battling severe pollution for several days now. On Sunday, the capital's air quality improved from severe to very poor, as the air quality index showed an overall reading of 386. And Prime Minister is going to be in Bhopal today on the occasion of Janjatiya Gaurav Divas. He's going to be attending this particular event on the birth anniversary of tribal freedom fighter Birsa Munda. Modi is also going to be inaugurating the newly revamped Rani Kamlapati railway station that is now going to be featuring modern airport-like world-class amenities. Remember, ahead of the event, MP government has renamed Habibganj railway station to Rani Kamalpati railway station. The Prime Minister's visit is a part of the government's tribal outreach in MP that constitute 21% of the state's population. He will launch several initiatives focusing on tribal communities. He launched Ration Aapke Gram scheme and Madhya Pradesh Sickle Cell Mission along with 50 Eklavya model residential schools across the nation as a part of his tribal outreach. After Uttar Pradesh, name game in Madhya Pradesh politics begins. Bhopal's Habibganj railway station is now going to be called Rani Kamlapati station. The Prime Minister is going to be inaugurating revamped railway station, which now features modern airport-like amenities. Take a look.
It is the new landmark of Bhopal. The city's renowned Habibganj station will now be known as Rani Kamlapati station, shedding its earlier look for a spanking new state-of-the-art railway hub. The name-changing exercise at the behest of the MP government comes after a mega revamp by railway authorities.
नाम जो है पूरी तरीके से बदल दिया गया है और रेलवे स्टेशन पर हबीबगंज जो शब्द थे उसे पूरी तरीके से हटा दिया गया है और रेलवे स्टेशन की इमारतों पर जो पुराना नाम था उसे हटा करके, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को आकर के यहाँ पे उद्घाटन करना है, इसीलिए जल्दबाजी में ही चाहिए लेकिन रानी कमलापति रेलवे स्टेशन के पोस्टर जो हैं वो लगा दिए गए हैं।
Renamed after the tribal queen Rani Kamlapati, who belonged to the Gond community. The tribal community comprises the largest tribal group of India with more than 1.2 crore population. Chief Minister Shivraj Chauhan called her the last Hindu queen of Bhopal.
मैं भारत के प्रधानमंत्री श्रीमान नरेंद्र मोदी जी को हृदय से धन्यवाद देता हूं। मध्य प्रदेश की 8.5 करोड़ जनता की ओर से, हमारे जनजातीय आदिवासी समाज की ओर से रानी कमलापति गोंड समाज का गौरव थी, अंतिम हिंदू रानी थी।
The revamped station on inauguration will become India's first world-class railway station with airport-like amenities, boasting food courts, restaurants, air-conditioned waiting rooms, dormitories and a VIP lounge. Adorned by modern escalators, lifts and 160 CCTV cameras. The new-look railway station is built at a cost of around 450 crore rupees. The news was reason to cheer for some locals and BJP workers who celebrated at the Bhopal party office.
आज पूरे मध्य प्रदेश में भोपाल के अंदर जिस प्रकार से उत्साह लोगों में नजर आया है, क्योंकि सामान्य घटना नहीं है, इस भोपाल को पहचान देने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हमारे आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो दी है, इसके लिए हम सब कार्यकर्ता तो उत्साहित हैं ही, संपूर्ण मध्य प्रदेश के अंदर भी लोग इसको लेकर के हर्षित हैं।
The Congress had earlier accused the BJP of pursuing a misplaced saffron agenda like promoting cow and Gaumutra.
देखिए, गौ और गौमूत्र का अपना उपयोग है, पर उससे अपने प्रदेश की अर्थव्यवस्था थोड़ी ना सुधर सकती है। अपने प्रदेश की अर्थव्यवस्था सुधरेगी जब निवेश आएगा, जब यहाँ आर्थिक गतिविधि बनेगी, और उसकी हमें नीतियां बनानी है, एक विश्वास पैदा करना है। इस प्रकार के बयानों से अपने प्रदेश में किसी का विश्वास नहीं बनेगा।
Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav said BJP only changes names.
मुख्यमंत्री जी को नाम ही बदलना आता है, रंग बदलना आता है। जो लोग नाम और रंग बदल रहे हैं, जनता इतना वोट डालेगी, सरकार बदल देगी।
The renaming of Habibganj railway station comes amid renaming of several other railway stations in recent times. In 2021 alone, 2 railway stations have been renamed in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Madwadi railway station was renamed as Banaras railway station, whereas the name of Faizabad railway station was changed to Ayodhya Can. Earlier, Allahabad station was renamed as Prayagraj and Mughal Sarai was renamed as Deen Dayal Upadhyay Junction. With Ravesh Pal Singh in Bhopal, Bureau Report, India Today.
It is Yogi versus Owaisi in poll-bound state of Uttar Pradesh. The duo are at loggerheads over modern king Chandragupta's legacy. Invoking his legacy, the UP Chief Minister said that the history has been distorted and questioned why King Alexander was called great, even as he was defeated by the Mauryan king. Yogi Adityanath further added the nation has been cheated with distorted history. Hitting back at the UP Chief Minister, AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi said that Hindutva is all about fake history factory. He said that Chandragupta and Alexander never had a war and that Baba log are getting to make up facts according to their convenience as they don't value the education system. The history suggests that the war between Mauryan king and Alexander's general is debatable subject as there is no evidence of a physical face-off between the two.
यानी इतिहास कैसे विकृत किया जाता है। इतिहास ने अशोक को या फिर चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य को महान नहीं बताया। किसको बताया? चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य से जो हारा था वह सिकंदर को महान बता दिया। कितना धोखा देश के साथ हुआ है। लेकिन इतिहासकार इन सब मुद्दों पर मौन है। कारण है, अगर ये सच्चाई जिस दिन भारतवासियों के मन में आ जाएगी तो समाज फिर से खड़ा हो जाएगा।
Kerala's famous Sabrimala temple is set to open from today. The door of Lord Ayappa temple is going to open today in general. Public is going to be allowed to offer prayers from tomorrow. Only 30,000 pilgrims are going to be allowed to visit the temple daily after registering online. Over 10 lakh pilgrims have registered so far. Sabrimala is opening for the Makar Sankranti festival, which lasts for 2 months. The Kerala government has set up emergency medical centres, oxygen parlours at 5 places along the journey from Pampa to Sannithanam. The temple will remain open till 26 December for the Mandala Puja. Speculations over cryptocurrency legislation being introduced in Parliament continue to intensify. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance will meet at 3 p.m. today on several different issues, including cryptocurrency. This is coming days after Prime Minister Modi chaired high-level meeting over the way forward for cryptocurrencies. Sources have told India Today that Modi government may introduce the Bitcoin bill in the upcoming winter session. During the meeting, attempts to mislead the youth through over-promising and non-transparent advertising and best practices to be followed would discuss the concerns over the possibility of unregulated crypto markets turning into avenues for money laundering and terror financing were also raised. It's India's crypto moment, definitely, with over 10 crore investors in digital currency. India has the highest cryptocurrency users in the world. Could crypto really become a currency in India soon? A legal framework to regulate and govern the booming cryptocurrency investment market in India may see the light of the day in February. But remember, it does remain to be a rather volatile and speculative space for now. Business Today TV first broke this news about 3 weeks ago, and since then, things are moving fast. And Finance Ministry sources say that the bill may be tabled in the winter session of the Parliament and may become a law by the time the budget is presented in February.
10 crore investors, 8,000 crore rupees invested. That's how much is loaded on the crypto bandwagon in India, even though the wagon is traveling a road that is yet to be mapped out. But there's good news for the millions who want a regulatory shield before investing in crypto. Business Today TV reported in October that cryptos could be a legal asset class in a few months, a clear departure from an earlier approach which proposed a complete ban on cryptocurrencies. Sources say the government is likely to opt for regulating cryptocurrencies just as it does with commodities, with a tax on all transactions and gains.
From our side, we are very clear that we are not shutting all options off. We will allow a certain amount of a window for people to use, so that experiments in the blockchain, the Bitcoin, or whatever you may want to call it, the cryptocurrency experiments and fintech, which depend on such experiments, will have that window available for them. We are not going to shut it off all. But yet, what kind of a formulation, even for a crypto, will have to be the content of the cabinet note, which will get ready soon.
There is reportedly a feeling in the government that instead of fighting technology, it's better to regulate and ensure investors are not hurt. This change has come about over the past several months, with the government treading cautiously on this matter. The biggest hurdle to cryptocurrencies till now was the banning of cryptocurrency and regulation of official digital currency bill proposed in 2019. This bill has been quietly scrapped. Meanwhile, after Business Today TV broke the news on regulation, crypto exchanges and intermediaries have gone on a publicity overdrive. Top stars are being roped in, with ad spend zooming to attract investors to the new investment opportunity.
और आपके फंड्स भी इंश्योर्ड हैं।
Money is also pouring into non-fungible tokens, with Amitabh Bachchan's recent NFT auction garnering around 7 crore rupees. The latest gold rush has sparked fears, with even the RSS Supremo addressing the issue in his annual Dussehra address.
बिटकॉइन जैसी करेंसी है, किस राष्ट्र का, किस नियम का उस पर नियंत्रण है, मुझे नहीं पता। एक स्पर्धा खड़ी हो रही है। इन सब बातों को नियंत्रित करना, समाज के हित में चलाना, ड्रग्स जैसे व्यसनों का पूर्ण निराश हो, इसका प्रयास करना, ये शासन को करना चाहिए, करना पड़ेगा।
Well, with India being an emerging and most growing market for investments in cryptocurrency, any legislation that's going to be drafted by Finance Ministry, Government of India, is going to leave its mark worldwide. Karishma Sudani, India Today, New Delhi.
Cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile, and the market thrives only on speculation. It is for this very reason that the world and its economies are still very wary about this digital money. El Salvador is the only country in the world that has approved Bitcoin as currency. Nations like the United States, Germany, UK, Australia have taken a pro-crypto stance. But what choice do they have when there are so many people using cryptocurrencies? But then there are those like China, who have put a blanket ban on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Here's how cryptos are going on around the world.
Bitcoin and Ethereum, the largest and second largest cryptocurrencies in the world, surging to new highs, rising as far as $67,700 and $4,800 respectively. Both have more than doubled since June and added nearly 70% against the dollar since the start of October. The little more than decade-old market for digital assets has already roughly quadrupled from its 2020 year-end value and now stands at $3 trillion in market capital. As cryptocurrency becomes a more significant factor in the global investment landscape, countries have taken different approaches to regulating the asset class. El Salvador is the only country in the world to allow Bitcoin as legal tender. In June this year, the country's Congress formally adopted Bitcoin as a form of payment. The United States has also taken a generally positive stance towards Bitcoin. Prominent businesses like Dish Network, Microsoft, Subway, and Overstock welcome payments in Bitcoin. The digital currency has also made its way to the US derivatives market, adding to its legitimacy. Canada too maintains a generally Bitcoin-friendly stand. Bitcoin transactions are viewed as barter, and the income generated is treated as business income. But some major Canadian banks have banned the use of their credit and debit cards for Bitcoin transactions. Similar to Canada, Australia considers Bitcoin neither money nor a foreign currency, with the Australian Taxation Office ruling it as an asset for capital gains tax purposes. United Kingdom has a pro-Bitcoin stance and wants the regulatory environment to be supportive of the digital currency. Bitcoin is under certain tax regulations in the UK. Germany is open to Bitcoin, where it is considered legal but taxed differently depending upon whether the authorities are dealing with exchanges, miners, enterprises, or users. Bitcoin, however, is banned in China. All banks and financial institutions are prohibited from dealing in Bitcoin. The Chinese government has cracked down on miners, and cryptocurrency exchanges are also banned. In Russia too, the use of Bitcoin as payment for goods and services is illegal. Bolivia, Colombia, and Ecuador have also banned the use of Bitcoin. India is considering a middle path on cryptocurrencies. What will it be? We'll have to wait and watch. Bureau Report, India Today.
New Zealand battled, but Australia were just too good on the day. Michelle Marsh and David Warner turned out to be the heroes as Australians ended a long wait for their maiden T20 World Cup title. Here's how Australian triumphed over New Zealand in Dubai last night.
Put in to bat first, New Zealand got off to a slow start. New Zealand's hero from their semi-final victory, Daryl Mitchell, tried to force the pace with a maximum, but he perished just a few balls later. With Martin Guptill struggling with his timing, New Zealand could only manage 32 runs from the power play. It was only after 10 overs that New Zealand threw caution to the wind, with Kane Williamson cutting loose. Even as Guptill departed for a 35-ball 28, the Kiwi captain started smashing anything and everything. Within no time, New Zealand had more than made up for their slow start. Mitchell Starc, who was Williamson's favourite target, was having a terrible night, leaking fours and sixes all over the park. Even as Josh Hazlewood had Williamson's number in the 18th over, his onslaught had put the Kiwis on track for a competitive total as they eventually finished with 172. Australia started poorly, with Aaron Finch once again departing for a single-digit score. The Aussies were 43 for 1 at the end of their power play, and soon Marsh and Warner began to take chances and took their team to 82 for 1 at the halfway stage. Men in yellow were cruising and Warner reached his third half-century of the tournament, but the left-hander had to depart soon after for a 38-ball 53. Mitchell Marsh, however, continued to mount pressure on the Kiwis with his big hitting, and another 6 brought up his 50 of just 31 deliveries. No way the Aussies were losing from here, and with the required run rate well below 6, they were in touching distance of the victory. Soon they crossed the finish line to lift their maiden T20 World Cup title that they had been waiting for 14 years. Sports Bureau, India Today.
That's it from me, Chaiti Narula, on this bulletin. For the news and updates, don't forget to log on to indiatoday.in or go ahead and download our app.